Have you ever wondered why you're here, why everything's here, what it's all about? Well, I can tell you in a few short sentences. You are just one combination out of trillions and trillions and trillions of combinations of matter particles in infinite time. Your combination momentarily come and go, and that's it. In infinite time. As simple as that. Mechanic, you are a robot. Everyone's a robot. Everything's robotic. Everything's a result of inevitable physical pluses and minuses. There's no spirits, gods or anything like that. Right? And even if you get emotional and it might seem as if it's not physical, but if you could see or determine the reason for those matter particles combining, you'll know even those feelings and sensitivity are purely physical pluses and minuses in the end. So it's as simple as that. Get on with your life. Don't waste your life running around in circles. Listen to these gurus. They're half-wits, that's what they are. They'd be better off to get a bloody job and do something bloody productive. Right? Instead of walking around waving bowls of smoke. And those Muslims weighing backwards and forwards, right? And dedicating themselves to killing the infidels, or stoning their bloody ladies if they don't do the men, if they don't do what the men want them to do. They're mental cases. Most religious people are a degree of mental, what can I say? Well, it's ignorance. Simply as that, ignorance. And religion first started when they couldn't understand the illusionary effects of why things happened. So they put magical connotations on them, spiritual connotations. But one by one the gods are going, and the spirits will go, the whole lot will go one day. But at the moment, I suppose, when you come to think of it, that unthinking matter can evolve to its complexity, and we have evolved to be what we are. It is very hard for us to what can I say? To understand the reason for everything, or the complexity of things, because we look on the surface, and you can't find the surface reasons. They're very complex. But scratch beneath the surface and get to basics, and you'll realise it's just purely physical pluses and minuses, like it or not. That's it. So it's so simple. All you've got to do is take a step back, use your logic and reason. Now I know people say, oh, you've got to have logic and reason. But whose logic and reason do we use? Even logic and reason, if it's on the basis on a false foundation, it's false logic and reason, isn't it? Right? So be a materialist. I know the religious people, they call you bloody greedy and selfish and unthinking and unspiritual and all the bloody rest of it, right? To try and degrade you, so they can justify their own existence, right? Their own nonsense, walking up and down waving bowls of smoke, and the Muslims swaying backwards and forwards, dedicated to killing the infidel, right? And stoning their women to death. Well, the Christians did that too, right? Burning at the stake. Look at their history. And they're not, the only difference is now they've ameliorated a bit, right? What's the saying now? When they haven't got power, they're a lamb. But if ever they get power, they're a tigress, right? And fortunately, religion in the Western world has been ameliorated a lot. Not altogether, but a lot, right? But if ever it got power again and go back to the same old thing, right? The slightest little thing. Look what they're doing. If anyone doesn't believe in their nonsense, you know what they do? They condemn them to a lifetime in hell, to burn in hell. Aren't they lovely, kind people? They try and tell you how kind they are and how they're helping everyone. But if anyone doesn't believe in their nonsense, that's what they say. They are mental cases. Absolutely. I woke up when I was a young kid. Right? And they asked me to pray, and I said, pray. And I said, I'm talking to myself. Right? Oh no, there's a God there. You can't see him, but he's there. Right? There's a God that got no substance, created the universe out of no substance, out of nothing. All out of nothing. If you believe that, you'd believe anything. And if you use that for the base of your thinking, you can justify any absurdity. But the materialist way of looking at things, you've got to prove your point. Right? You get a mechanic, right, or a plumber, electrician, to do your repairs. They've got to prove their point, haven't they? If it doesn't work, they don't say, oh, well, there's some spirit there stopping it. They don't say that, do they? You want a physical answer, don't you? Well, you should get a physical answer for your own existence, because you are only a robot. We all are. Simple as that. So get on with your life and dump these idiots that are bloodsuckers that have been living off you for generations. Dump them, right? And get on with your own existence. Get together and work things out in a logical, reasonable manner that would benefit us all. You don't need the 10 Commandments. You don't need that. All they've got to do is sit down and work out the most efficient way to live together. And by the way, be careful of communism, because they did the same thing. They ended up as a dictatorship and a bunch of thugs, right? So if you do get together, make sure you get a set of laws and rules where there's no dictator comes into the situation, or governing body that control everything, right? Disgusting what they've done. But the capitalists, they indirectly, they've got their problems too, right? They kill off, we have healthy competition to a degree, but sometimes when you get capitalism, right, and it gets control, they squash good, honest, hard-working people, business people. So they've got their faults. But as bad as they are, they're not as bad as the rest. And also, you ever notice these business people, you don't hear them praying, do you? Right? They've got to work out the stock, the costs, they've got to work out all the details, right? You don't see them praying, they've got to work it out, haven't they? You don't see anyone in any of the trades doing that, do you? Except a few idiots might, but by and large, right? So, dump the lot, right? Scratch beneath the surface, and you'll find it's not just absurdity, it's a joke. It's so absurd that it is a joke. Can you believe it? Those idiots, right, walking around with bowls of smoke, swaying backwards and forwards, going through the rosary beads, kneeling, bending up and down, right? And those Muslims swaying backwards and forwards, screaming, Allah, Allah, right, all that business. You go and visit a mental institution and see some of those patients that are drugged up, right? And look at them. They're no different to these bloody other gurus. Another thing too, though, although I'm a materialist, be wary of science, because the worms have got into them, right? And some atheists and materialists have made gods out of science, right? And true science is absolutely 100% terrific. So no matter what you bring in, how good it is, there's always someone who'll undermine it, right? The worms get into everything. Religion has got into science, business has got into science, right? You name it. The whole lot, and used it, right? To manipulate the population and exploit them. And believe you me, you have been exploited. Anyhow, I'll sign off at that.